1/3 of the members form the new political parties. 2/3 of the members they merge with another political parties. They will not be disqualified. Otherwise, if they give up the memberships or the independent MLA or MP join the political parties after being elected, nominated members join any political parties after 6 months. If a member does not follow the whip given by the political parties, the speaker can disqualify those members. It is very very important point that my dear children you should understand. But speaker and deputy speakers are exempted. Okay, if they are supporting, sometimes a tie will come. If there is a tie on any issues, the speaker or the deputy speaker can give their vote there also when the tie comes there. So a speaker or deputy speaker will not be disqualified, but speaker has power to disqualify any member of the Sabha if they violate these rules. We call it as an anti-defection law there. Okay, my dear children, it is very important points. Please note down. Anti-defection law means disqualification of the MLAs or MPs. You should understand. Okay, if they join new party after elected as MP or MLA, or if they are resigning, or if they are living up the memberships, or they are forming new parties, one person left the party and formed a new party, or they are joining in another parties after being elected. That's what I told you, some certain conditions I told you also there. Give up memberships. Independent member join political parties after being elected. Nominated members join the political parties after 6 months. If member does not follow the whip given by the party, that means I told you, okay, we have to give order, we have to give the yes to this decision taken by the concerned government, or we have to give the no. So the member cannot violate the decision taken by the political party. We call it as a whip. So one MLA will become, otherwise one MP will become chief whip of every party. They will give the whip to other members. They have to follow the direction of the party there. If they violate that one, they will be disqualified. So this is the first point, anti-defection law. I'll go a little faster. That's why I have a note down what things I have to speak today. Then what we discuss here, it is Amendment 368 Act, 368, Article number 368. Don't forget about this one. It comes under Part 22. No prior permission of permission from the president there. That means what is that if you want to make any amendment, they have to take the prior permission from the state president of India there. State government cannot initiate any amendments. Okay, prior permission from president of India, prior permission of the president of India for any constitutional amendment. State cannot amend anything of the constitutions. Either house, that means Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, with have the special majority, that means 2/3 majority, only any amendment of the constitution can be adopted. No joint sitting for constitutional amendment. So first I'm telling, prior permission of the president of India, state government cannot initiate any amendment of the constitutions. It is a matter of, it is the discretionary power of the central governments. Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, any one of the Sabha can initiate constitutional amendment bill there, but there must be the special majority for article number 368. 368 means amendment of Indian constitutions. No joint sitting. For example, one Sabha passed, another Sabha does not pass, that means there will not have any joint sitting. So it is very very important point that you should understand. Joint sitting is not possible for constitutional amendment at any kind of differences between Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. It is very important. One, it is passed and sent it to President of India. President of India cannot be sent it back for reconsideration. I am talking about the amendment. Okay, amendment bill I am telling there. And one more things are there. For any this can be taken for any judicial review also. For example, this any constitutional amendment was made for the Indian constitutions can be challenged also there in the Supreme Court, because Supreme Court is a guardian of the Indian constitution, so we can go there. But any constitutional amendments issues are taken in the Supreme Courts under the division bench. It is not a single bench. A single bench means only one judge will be there. So constitutional bench is there, separate bench is there. Here, Chief Justice of India and another 7 judges comes for what is a constitutional bill bench there. That is a special bench for reviewing, judicial review for the any constitutional amendment made by the parliament there. So first of all, constitutional amendment comes under article number 368, a prior permission from President of India. President cannot send it back to uh, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha for reconsiderations. State government cannot initiate any amendment there. Either house, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, can initiate this bill there. Then special majority is required. 2/3 majority is required for passing constitutional amendment. Then no joint sitting at any circumstances. If there is any difference between Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, then in case any kind of the challenge for the constitutional amendment passed by the parliaments, it can be reviewed. We call it as a judicial review by the Supreme Court of India under Chief Justice plus 7 judges, senior most judges. So this is a provision for a constitutional amendment. If you feel it so, it is very important. Please note down these points so that it will be easy for you to recollect during the examination times or prior before the examinations. Then I told about there are three types of emergencies there: 352, 356, 360. Don't forget. First one, 352, I already told that once. It is any threat to the security of the country. Any security, very, very important point I'm going to discuss here it is. Any threat to the security of the country in terms of war or aggression or rebellions, it comes under article number 352. But 356 is a completely comes under the state governments. If the state government doesn't have the sufficient majority, otherwise there is no machinery to function state governments, then governor will inform to the President of India. Then the parliament will interfere that once. Then president rule will be enacted to the state governments. It is very certain points I want to discuss about this emergency now. 360 is a financial emergency. So 352, 356, 360. There are three types of emergency prevails in our country there. Don't forget. 352, national emergency, the whole country will be affected. 356 means only particular state or particular area will be affected. Financial emergency, so far we could not have any financial emergency till today. Okay, 1950 Indian constitutions came into the force. Now we are standing in 2020. There was no financial emergency till today there. Don't forget. Now 352, I want to specify of that ones. Must have the approval with 1 month after the proclamation. For example, President of India proclaimed the national emergency. So that means Parliament must give the approval within 1 month. Otherwise, it will get cancelled. President of India at the emergency situation, he declared or he proclaimed the yearly. There was an oral discussion. Prime Minister of the country that in 1975 and all this and all, the Srimati Indira Gandhi, she gave the oral, information to the President of India, Fakhruddin Ali. So he started proclaiming the president rule in entire country there. But now the things has been changed there after 1978 and all. Now we cannot make it oral. Parliament must pass there. Okay, one more very important points. Any president rule in the entire country, only maximum 6 months only. It's a very, very important point that you should understand very clearly. Okay, must have the approval of the parliaments within 1 month after the proclamation of the emergency by the President of India. If it is the national emergency, comes under 352. Don't forget. If it is a national emergency, if it is a national emergency which is threatening the security of the country, under article number 352, 352, what is there? Within 1 month, Parliament must give the approval. Okay, for example, President of India proclaimed emergency today. Within 1 month, today is a date is well about that 14. That means within 1 month, Parliament must give the approval, and that also 2/3 majority. 2/3 majority must be there for what is there enacting or imposing any kind of emergency situation in our country. It is very, very, very important points. Okay, I told you there are different types of the majorities are there. We'll discuss separate. Now I tell 2/3 majorities is required for what there for imposing any kind of emergency for the country there. Okay, that is the first points which I want to discuss. If the parliament is not approved or they does not approve this ones, it automatically ceased off. It will not become proclamations. It will not become emergency. Parliament approval is compulsory for the president national emergency proclamations there, that is very important. Okay, that means it will not have the validity after that. It is subject to the judicial review. I already told that when president imposed the national emergency to our country, it can be challenged by the court of law there, and the Supreme Court of India can interfere, and it can go for a judicial review also there. Remember one thing, 352, that means national emergency can be imposed at a times only 6 months, don't forget. But we'll discuss about other one. What about 356? It can go for more than at a times it can go for more than 6 months, that means 1 year. So national emergency for maximum 6 months, again it can extend, it can be extended, again it can be extended. So every period parliament must give the approval there. For example, 6 months they extended their national emergency, that means within 1 month they have to give the permission. Again is extending another second 6 months, parliament must give the approvals. That means without the approval of the parliament, national emergency cannot be imposed. Otherwise, if it is not approved, it will get cancelled automatically. Because I'm going little faster, so sorry for any kind of inconvenience. Okay, if Lok Sabha dissolved, for examples, for giving approval, because the Lok Sabha was not there, they completed 5 years of terms there. During emergency time, I'm telling there. Okay, so only Rajya Sabha will be there. So Rajya Sabha will give the approval within 1 month, and it should be rectified by the Lok Sabha within 1 month after new Lok Sabha is formed there. So during national emergency times, if Lok Sabha is not there, then what will happen there? Rajya Sabha will give the approval. But one thing, once the Lok Sabha is constituted, they have to give the approval within 1 month. That is a procedure. Because Lok Sabha is only for 5 years. It is a temporary Sabha, whereas Rajya Sabha is a permanent Sabha. So in case Lok Sabha is not there, Rajya Sabha can give the approval, but Lok Sabha must give the approval after reconstituted, after general elections completed there. So don't forget that point is very important. 1975, okay, oral advice. I think I already discussed with you. National emergency was declared there during the time of Srimati Indira Gandhi, 1975. It is because of the Allahabad High Court verdict in 1971 that she has done the malpractice during the election times. So that time she had given oral advice to the President of India for declaring proclamation for whole country there. Okay, it's an oral advice by the Prime Minister. But now, after 1978, oral advice by the Prime Minister, the President will not work out. Okay, that is very important because approval of the Parliament is compulsory. It is compulsory. Okay, it is very important within 1 month. If it is the President rule in the state, within 2 months, it must be constituted. Okay, it is very, very important that you should understand very clearly. Okay, sorry for interruption. Sorry for this. So I am telling here it is. I am talking here it is about a national emergency must be approved within 1 month by the Parliament. If it is a president rule in the state, it must be approved by the parliaments within 2 months. If it is a national emergency, maximum 6 months. If it is a president rule in the state, it will be 1 year. That you have to understand very, very clearly. Okay, this is the one point which I want to share with you. Then still 1975, only oral advice by the Prime Minister to the President of India for the proclamation of the national emergency. Very important. But now it must be approved by the parliaments, both the Sabha, Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. No joint sittings. No joint sittings for this kind of things. It is very important point that you should understand. Now, Lok Sabha can be extended not more than 6 months. I already discussed with you. The same, if the state legislature of the state can not be suspended, but parliament can enact law on the state subject list also there. So I discussed about the president rule in the state and president rule in the country. President rule in the country 6 months approved by the parliament, and president rule in the state approved by the parliament within 2 months can be extended for 1 year. Then suspension of fundamental right under 358, which already I discussed with you, especially article number 19 will be suspended. 359 359 article numbers. Fundamental right can be suspended. All other fundamental rights other than 20 and 21. So 352 I told a national emergency by President of India, approval by the Parliament within 1 month. It can be extended maximum 6 months. 356 present rule in the state. The governor must give the report there. It cannot be extend more than 1 year, but the Parliament must approve within 2 years. Sorry, within 1 year. Then financial emergency, I told you that one, it is not been imposed so far in our country there. Then 358 fundamental right, the freedom of the right. That means article number 19 is totally suspended there under 358 article there. 359 other fundamental rights also can be suspended, but article number 20 and 21 cannot be suspended. Now, 356 that you should understand, which already I discussed with you, president rule in the state. With or without the governor reports, president can impose president rule in the country. That you should understand. There is some doubt is there among the students that one, sir, governor must give the report to the president of India. Then only president of India can impose president rule in the state. It is not like this. With the report of the governor or without the report of the governor, President of India can impose the president rule in the state. That is very important, which comes under article number 356. So 356 completely comes under what is a state president rule systems. 352, 356, 360, don't forget. 352 is a national emergency, 356 is a state emergency, 360 is their financial emergency. Don't forget. Then I told the difference between this 352 and 356. 352 for 6 months only. 356 1 year maximum. Okay, but not more than 3 years. Not more than 3 years maximum. What is it? 1 year. Once it is introduced, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year maximum 3 years only. It is not like 10 years they can extend the present rule in our state. It is not like this. Maximum 3 years and the minimum they can extend into 1 year. But national emergency in the country 6 months only. Approval by the Parliament within 1 month. President rule in the state within 2 months. Don't forget. Okay, suspension of I had already discussed with you fundamental rights, which comes under article number 358, 359, suspension of other fundamental rights other than 20 and 21. At any emergency, article number 20 and 21 cannot be suspended. That you should understand very clearly. Okay. Now, 356, I already discussed with you with the report of the governor. If the government is not giving report also, President of India can impose president rule in the state there. It is very important. Then I already discussed with you, it is not more than 1 year. At a times they can stretch, they can extend at a stretch 1 year only state president rule. My dear children, don't confuse with the national emergency. National emergency only 6 months at a stretch. Whereas president rule in the state, 1 year at a stretch. That don't forget in this ones. But any circumstances or any case, what is beyond 3 years of date of issue of proclamation cannot be extended. That means once this proclamation is imposed in the state, okay, it cannot be imposed more than 3 years. That maximum limit for imposing the president rule is for 3 years. Don't forget that point is one thing is very important. Then already we discussed 356 42nd amendment 1976 1 year. 356 44 amendment 1978 3 years. That means there were 2 amendments related to the national emergency. That means 356 means you already discussed with you present rule in the state there. 2 times it is amended under article number 356 amended under 42nd Amendment Act in 1976 and the 44 Amendment Act in 1978. Then you will ask, what is this one, sir? That means 1 year extended into 3 years. I told that one approval of the 6 months at a times. If it is for the national emergency, if it is a national emergency, only 6 months. If it is a state emergency, 1 year extend into 3 years maximums. 352 affect fundamental rights, but 356 does not affect fundamental rights. Very important. Another differences. 352, when the national emergency is proclaimed by President of India, fundamental right will not be fundamental will be affected very badly. Whereas, but 20 and 21 will not be affected. But 356, that means president rule in the state, no fundamental rights will be violated. It will not be injected or it will not be restricted. That means president rule in the state will not affect fundamental rights, whereas national emergency definitely it will affect fundamental rights. Say that is a difference. First difference I told, national emergency at a stretch for 6 months, whereas state emergency at a stretch 1 year, it can be extended further 3 years, but at a stretch it is only 1 year. Then I told her 356 1 year to 3 years, 3 years I told her. Then 352 it will affect the fundamental right. 356 will not affect the fundamental right. That means fundamental rights cannot be suspended under article number 356. Since I'm very a little faster, I think you are following me. Then 356 I told you within 2 months they must approval of the parliaments. 352 must have the approval of 1 month. My dear children, I want your. Am I going faster?
No, sir.
No,
Yeah,
sir.
because
No,
then are
sir.
so many. I have to explain today so many things. I have to explain so many things today. That's why I have note down the points what I want to share with you. So 352 and 356 don't forget. 352 only will affect the fundamental right. 356 will not affect the fundamental right. 352 only 6 months. 356 1 year, that can be at a stretch. Then it can extend another 1 year, another 1 year. Likewise, 3 years maximum can be done there. Approval 1 year for a 352. Sorry, approval by the parliament within 1 month for 352. Then approval of the parliament for 356 within 2 months. Don't forget, it is very, very important. Then every 6 months, every 6 months, the parliament must give the approval. Every 6 months, the parliament must give the approval if the emergency is prevailing in our country there. Okay, that is very important. That is very important. But 352 every 6 months, it will be there, but no upper limit there. I told 356 maximum 3 years only, maximum 3 years. At a stretch 1 year, then one more year, one more year. That means every 6 month parliament will give the approval. Every 6 month parliament must give the approval for state president rule or national president rule, whatever it may be. Parliament must approve every 6 months. Their approval is very important. If they are not giving approval, automatically it will get seized off. That means emergency will get seized off. Then what is the one difference which I want to share with you? 356 means every 6 months. Okay, every 6 months the parliament must give the approval for 3 years maximum. Whereas 352 parliament must give the approval for every 6 months, but there is no upper limit. Every 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months they have to give the approval. It can be extended any level also there. So far we don't have any financial emergency which comes under article number 360. Okay, maximum financial emergency, maximum 2 months only. So here I discussed 3 points. One is a 352 maximum 6 months. Then 356 maximum 1 year, that can be extended maximum year 3 years. One stretch I'm telling, one stretch is 6 months, one stretch 3 years. If it is a financial emergency, at a stretch only 2 months. That means financial emergency cannot impose the more than 2 months. Okay, that you should understand very clearly. The language what we have to use for the parliaments. That means you know that once Hindi is the official language. Devanagari script was official language there. Parliament is generally using that in Hindi or English there. In case if the parliament MPs want to speak the local language, they have to get the permission, prior permission from the speaker, so that they will arrange a translator so that the MP can speak in any vernacular language in the parliament. Okay, it is. But remember one thing, under schedules 8, 22 languages were recognized by Indian constitutions, and any one of the language can be spoken in the parliament there. Okay, but the prior permission of the speaker is must for speaking any other language other than Hindi or English. That you should understand very clearly. Then court language means you should understand English is always court language there, especially in the matter of the judgment and all this and all. They take what is there English as the main language there. It is very important. In case any local language wanted to be introduced in the court, governor must give the authorizations to speak or to have the court proceedings. Okay, for example, Hindi or any local language must be used in the High Court. Okay, but then governor must give the authorization. Without the governor authorization, no language can be used in the court other than English. If they want to use Hindi or if they want to use any other local language in the High Court, governor must give the authentications or he must authorize it. It is very important. And but judgment is not in the any local language or Hindi. It purely will be English. So any verdict, any judgment, any decree or any writs given by the court will be purely English. But if you want to speak Hindi, if you want to speak a local language in the High Court, okay, definitely you can speak, but governor must give the authorization. That is very, very important. State legislative assembly, you know that once, you know, Hindi is the official language in the northern India and all. Generally, they speak Hindi and everything. If the other state in south and everything, if they want to speak their local language, it can be spoken. Permission is given there. Okay, if in the case between the state and central governments, if they have any transactions or any correspondence, then definitely that will be English, not Hindi there. So this is about the language. I'm talking about that terms. So any language can be spoken in the parliament, but permission from the president of India, speaker is required. That means any language can be spoken in the parliament, but speaker must give the permission. Number one. High Court, you can use any language, but governor must give the authorizations. And any language can be used in the state legislative assembly. But any correspondence between state government and central governments, purely English. That you should understand very, very clearly. Okay. Then I want to discuss about the elections. 324. 324 is the Election Commission of India. Article number 324. Don't forget 324. Okay, so Election Commission of India, now we have a 1 plus 2. That means total 3 commissions are there. One is the Chief Election Commissioner and the other 2 election commissioners. That you should not forget. Okay, that is very, very important point that you should understand always. Now, what is a tenure? 6 years or 65 years, whichever comes first. That is the tenure of the election commissioner or the chief election commissioner. Okay, so presently we have 3 election commissioner, 1 chief election commissioner and other 2 election commissioner. All these 3 fellows are appointed by President of India. Their tenure is their 6 year or 65 years. For example, their age is their 55 years now. Now, what will be their 10 year? 65 means they have to spend a 10 year, or 6 year means they will retire in the 61 years. So whichever comes first. If their age is now 55 years, now 6 years means they will reach 61. Okay, or their age is their 61 years or 62 years. Now they can serve only 3 more years. So whichever comes first, either 6 years or 65 years, whichever comes first, that is a tenure for election commissioner or chief election commissioner. Don't forget. So they are appointed by President of India. They are equivalent rank of judge of Supreme Court. Don't forget that point is very, very important. Okay, don't forget that point is very important. And another point which I want to discuss with you also there, no reappointments cannot be hold any office after they becoming the election commission. That is another, this question asked there for the previous examination also there. Once they became election commissioner or chief election commissioner, they cannot hold any office of profit in our country. That means they cannot become, they cannot get any job in any office of India there. So that will be the last of their tenures. So 324, don't forget the article number 324. That means election commissioner, their tenure is 6 years or 65 years, whichever comes first. They are appointed by President of India. No reappointment for them to any other office of profit there. It is very important. Then 326, universal adult franchise. That means all the people who complete 18 years will have the right to vote. That comes under article number 326. Are you noting down all these points, or you have no time to write?
Writing, sir.
Okay, very
good. Writing, sir.
Oh, that's why I am also not down, because I want to talk so many points today. Otherwise, I will slip off and I will concentrate only one particular points. So 324, don't forget election commissions. 326 is there, universal adult franchise to especially Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. Okay, 326 only. Okay, all the people who complete 18 years will have the right to vote. Will for only applicable to Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. Don't forget that once. Okay, that is one. Then if any person is convicted or sentenced in India for 2 years, okay, he is disqualified to contest in the election. So he cannot contest, he cannot become MLA or MP. Minimum 2 years. He is convicted or he is sentenced or he is imprisoned 2 years. he cannot be he's not a qualified to contest the elections. That is very important. That means how many years he cannot contest? Around 6 years he cannot contest in the election after releasing from the jail. After releasing from the jail, he cannot contest the next 6 years. That is very important. So 2 years. Okay, if any person convicted or sentenced in minimum 2 years, he is disqualified for contesting in the elections, and he cannot contest in the elections next 6 years after releasing from the jail and all this and all. It is very important, but it can be reduced by election commissions. Okay, if the person does not fail to file the account once the election over, they have to submit how much amount of money they spend for the election expenditure. If they are not failing, if they are not filing that details also, account details also, they can be disqualified by election commission also there. Okay, that means once the election over, the concerned MLA or MP, they have to file and they have to submit the affidavit that one, this much amount of the money spent for a their election expenditure. If they are not failing, or if they are failing to file the details of the accounts, they can be disqualified by the election commissions. So disqualification here I discussed first only. Speaker can disqualify the MLAs or MPs if they are not following the procedure, or if they join the other political parties, or if they are not following the whip of their party. Speaker can disqualify. If they are not filing the account details, or if they are convicted for any criminal cases or any other cases for 2 years, they can also be disqualified by the election commission. So disqualification of MLA or MP by speaker can be done, or a election commission can be done, but any of this disqualification can be challenged by the court of law, by the Supreme Court of India under judicial review. That you should understand very clearly. Now, any dispute on election can be challenged before High Court. This is very important questions. You can go for appeal to Supreme Court also. Okay, there is some doubts also there, sir. Where I have to go there? Where I have to go to directly to Supreme Court, or whether I have to go to High Court or not? So any disputes related to the election, you can go to directly to High Court. In case if it is not, then you can go to appeal to the Supreme Court of India there. In any disputes related to the election, very important. But president and vice president elections, any dispute is there, they have to go to only Supreme Court. They cannot go to High Court. Now here I'm talking about MLAs and MPs. Okay, any disputes related on the MLA or MP election proceeding, we can go to High Court. From there we can go to okay, can you hear me what I'm telling? Some message I'm getting. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So president, vice president elections, any dispute is there, directly we have to go to Supreme Court only. Okay. This is what about that one. After I told that one, chief election commissions appointed by president, other two election commissioners also were appointed by president with the consultation of chief election commissioner. It's a very important point I want to discuss here. It is there. That means chief election commission is appointed by president of India, but other two election commissioners are appointed by president of India in consultation with the chief election commissioner. It is very important. These two more election commissioners, inducted into the election commissions in the year of 1993 only. Okay, 1993, after three election commissions came to the election commission. Before that, only one election commissions were there. After 1993, three election commissions were there. Don't forget. And 3 to 4 appointment of regional election commissioners with the consultation of election commissions. That is another regional election commission in state level. State level there is election commission is there. State level. Okay. Regional election commissions, we call those people regional level. That is also in consultation with the chief election commissions president of India will appoint. But state election commission is there. So that confusion don't make it that ones. Election chief election commission of India and other two election commission of India appointed by president. Regional election commissions appointed by president in consultation with the chief election commissioners. But the state election commissioners are appointed by concerned governor there. Now, removal of this election commissioners just like a judge of Supreme Courts. Okay, it's very important. It is very important. I told you, chief election commissioner or other election commissioners are equivalent to the judge of Supreme Court. How the Supreme Court judge can be removed there? A president can appoint judges. We are going to discuss that matter also. Judges can be appointed. High Court judge or Supreme Court judges can be appointed by President of India, but President of India has no power to remove them. There, Parliament must give the approval by 2/3 majority in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Then only the judge of Supreme Court, judge of High Court can be removed. Same practice for Chief Election Commissioners and two other election commissions. Once President is appointed, it will be difficult for the removal of the President of India. That you have to remember. Especially, I'm talking about the Chief Election Commission. Chief Election Commission can be removed only by the approval of the Parliament by 2/3 majority in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Whereas other two election commissioners can be removed if the president is not happy, and in consultation with the Chief Election Commission, other election commission can be removed. Now, here there is one clarification recorded there. Other two election commissions can be removed without the approval of the Parliament. Yes, it can be done there. But Chief Election Commission cannot be removed simply though the President of India appoint Chief Election Commissions, but removal of Chief Election Commissions can be approved by only Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha by 2/3 majority. State election commission can be removed by governor. Regional election commissions or other two commissions working under Election Commission of India can be removed with the consultation of Chief Election Commissioner. That point you have to understand very clearly. So appointment of which people? The appointment of Chief Election Commissioner, other two election commissioners, regional election commissioners are appointed by President only. But removal of Chief Election Commissioners by the Parliament only, President can remove. President can remove, but approval of the Parliament is must there. 2/3 majority is must there. Now, removal of the regional election commissioners or removal of other two election commissioners. I told you in 1993, after instead of one election commissioner, 3 election commissioners were there, out of which one person is their chief election commissioners, other two is their election commissioners. So other two election commissioners can be removed in consultation with the chief election commissioner by President of India, not record Parliament proceedings. But removing chief election commissioner, Parliament proceeding is must there. 2/3 majority is must there. It is same practice like removal of judge of High Court or Supreme Court. 2/3 majority. So here I discuss about the Chief Election Commission, High Court judges, Supreme Court judges, appointment by presidents, but president cannot remove them. It is very important point that you should understand. For removal of the High Court judges, removal of the Supreme Court judges, removal of Chief Election Commissioner, especially Parliament approval is required, 2/3 majority is required. That you should understand very, very clearly. Okay, that point you have to understand very clearly. Now, when I start talking about the administrative tribunal, I saw these questions in one of the things, but the boys confused last times and everything. Administrative tribunal, that means which comes under article number 323A there. What actually this one? This act was passed in 1985. That means Administrative Tribunal Act there. That means any issue related to the central there are two types of central administrative tribunals are there. One is their central administrative tribunals and the state administrative tribunals are there. Their main things are there to settling the dispute of otherwise complaint involving in the civil service. For example, IPS, IAS, IFS, all these kind of civil service, any kind of the disputes, any kind of the complaints are there. Here, administrative tribunals will enact the special role there. That you have to understand very clearly. One chairman and the members appointed by President of India. That means chairman and the members of the administrative tribunal who settling the disputes, otherwise complaints of civil service officials. Okay, that chairmen and members are appointed by President of India. It is after consulting with the Chief Justice of India. That means it is a very important body, constitutional body, this one, administrative tribunals. You may not have the paying attention to this administrative tribunals. In case this question asked, you should understand very clearly this administrative tribunals to solve the issues related to the civil servant people there. All the chairmen or members are appointed by President of India in consultation with the Chief Justice of Supreme Court there. And in this one, Members will be judges of high courts. Some members are their civil servants. Okay, chairman and vice chairman will have the status of high court judge. So it is the constitutional body. If you look into the article number 323, you can see this on administrative tribunals. So administrative tribunals are the constitutional body to look after the issues of civil servants. Any kind of complaint, any kind of the disputes arise among the civil servants, IPS, IAS, okay, anything like this, these tribunals will deal that issues and settle the issues. Here, chairman and vice chairman in the equivalent rank of the High Court judges, all these members are appointed by President of India. That is very important. The retirement age will be 65 years and other members will be there 62 years. Chairman age is 65 years, other members will have the 62 years. I'm talking about administrative tribunal. Don't forget that point is very things. But this is not applicable for armed persons. I already discussed with you. Armed person, it is not applicable. That means administrative tribunal not for military. That means not for army, navy or air force. It is a purely for civil servant. IPS, IAS, IFS, likewise only it goes there. Or IRS, likewise it goes there. Only civil service related disputes or issues are settled through administrative tribunal, which comes under article number 323 article there. Here, chairmans and all the members are appointed by the presidents. Chairman retirement age is 65, other members 62. Chairman is equal in rank of the judge of High Court. That you should understand also there. Now, UPSC, that is another important point that you should understand. That means they mainly what is their appoint, and your case also like this only, you are appointed by UPSC only there. UPSC, any appointments means appointment by President of India. So it is quite difficult for removing the person from the job there. Okay, it is very, very difficult. It is not that much easy to removing the persons appointed by UPSC. That don't forget. So UPSC is there, then joint, what is there, PS, public service commissions are there, then state public service commissions are. So three types of public service commissions are there. Union public service commissions, joint public service commissions, and the state public service commission is very important. State public commissions, chairmans and members are appointed by governor. Joint public service commissions, chairmans and members are appointed by president. It is very important. And Union Public Service Commission chairman and the members are appointed by President of India there. So here, two public service commission chairmans and members are appointed by president there. That you should understand very clearly. Whereas state level public service commissions by governor. Just before I told that one, state election commission is appointed by governor. Here just now I am telling one more. The state public service commission chairman and other members appointed by governor. But joint public service commission for more than one or two states, one joint public service commissions are possible there. But that chairman and members are also appointed by President of India. Union Public Service Commission chairman and the members are appointed by President of India. That you should understand very, very clearly. And this all the civil service peoples comes under, you might be knowing also, Ministry of Personnel for Government of India. All the civil service peoples, our IRS, IFS, IAS, IPS, all comes under Ministry of Personnels. Okay, that ministry, all they are working for that. That don't forget about that one. That means any central or state serving recruited by the Ministry of Personnels in consultation with the UPSC. That means any kind of the civil servants are appointed by the UPSC and the Ministry of Personnel. That means all the civil servants comes under Ministry of Personnel in consultation with the UPSC. They are being appointed, and your case is also like this. So any appointment by UPSC equal that President of India is appointed, because UPSC is set up by President of India. UPSC members are appointed by President of India. So any appointment by UPSC is equal that President of India appoint the concerned people. Since you are going to write NDA examinations and going to have a what is there this UPSC written examination, so you will come under President there. Don't forget, that is very important. I told three types of public service commission: Union Public Service Commission, State Public Service Commission, and joint public service commissions. Joint public service commissions, 2 or more than 2 states will have one commission. We call it as a joint public service commissions. And the total number of the members are not fixed. It varies from place to place. That will be decided by President of India. There is not particular strength for UPSC. Don't forget, and no qualification also specified by the constitutions. I'm talking about UPSC. UPSC chairmen and members are appointed by President of India. No specific qualification is mentioning anywhere, and total number of the members, how many, that also not specified by the constitutions. Then chairman and the members appointed by President of India, I told 6 years or 65 years. So here we discussed about many points there. Okay, election commission we discussed there 6 years or 65 years. Here we are discussing UPSC chairman and the members 6 years or 65 years. Okay, if they want to resign, for example, chairman want to resign, they have to submit the resignation letter to the President of India only. That means these members are being removed only by the President of India. In absence of the chairman, members can be appointed as the acting chairman by President of India also there. Okay, that you have to remember always. And one thing I want to tell also, the state public service, I told you, chairmen and the members are appointed by governor, but governor has no power to remove them. Only president can remove. So this is a difference that you should understand. Okay, at the state level, state public service commission chairmen and members are appointed by governor, but governor has no power to remove them. That removal only through what is President of India in consultation with the Supreme Courts. That means it is very important point I want to discuss here. It is UPSC members are appointed, joint public service commissions are appointed by President of India, but President of India cannot remove them unless they had a consultation with the Supreme Court of India. They cannot be removed there. And similar state level appointment by governor, but governor has no power to remove a state level public service commission chairman or members. That must be done by President of India in consultation with the Supreme Court of India. That you have to understand, very, very important. Then I want to tell about the National Integration Councils. So many things are there. Okay, before going for this, I'll discuss about this high courts. Before that, I want to ask also, my dear boys, when are you free there? You tell me. Can you be free at any times? I want at least 2 hours. See, today I thought of discussing what are the points I will share with you. National Integration Council, National Development Council, Planning Commission, Niti Ayogs, Finance Commission, Zonal Council, Interstate Councils, State Election Commissions, Jammu Kashmir 370 articles, High Courts, Supreme Courts, then Parliament proceedings, Public Accounts of India, budget session, different sessions, financial bill, money bill, Attorney General, CAG, Vice Presidents, President of India. See, where is the time now? Now coming to 4 o'clock. Tell me, I want some times to explain. I'm running also, I'm not able to finish. Kindly tell me what time you will be free. I'm not getting class. That's my big problems. Can anyone tell me? Raghavan, can you tell me? Hello?
Evening.
Raghavan, can you hear
Evening
me?
4.
Even
Yes,
I am
sir.
also not happy by going like this, my dear. What to do? I have to go for economics. I have to go for history, very lengthy. 20 questions going to ask from history minimum. I want to teach Gandhi Nira. I want to teach freedom fighting movements. Then I want to teach a few dynasties like Mughal dynasty, Delhi Sultanate, then Chera Chola Pandya dynasty is very important. Then Chalukya dynasty is very important. Magadha dynasties are important. That means Gupta, Mauryas and all. I want a selective dynasty. Where is the time? Where is the class? You please tell me tomorrow or Sunday or any day. You tell me what time you'll be free.
Sir. Morning 6 o'clock.
Morning 6 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Morning 6 o'clock. At what time your class starts? Angur Pandey sir class. Other than this Friday and Saturday. What about tomorrow program?
Sir, tomorrow we may be having mock test, sir.
Mock test.
After 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Yes, sir.
So many things are there to discuss. These are all importance and selective points from your question paper. Question paper and syllabus. Niti Aayog, National Chief Judicial Commissions, Planning Commission, though it was already suspended, it's already removed, but you should know about the Planning Commission also. There are many things which I want to share with you, but how it is possible, I don't know about it. Okay, I'll go little, some more times I'll spend. The National Integration Council, that you should understand, 1986. It's mainly for the welfare measures for minorities and communal harmony. It is a union ministers, all the chief ministers, all the national state political parties representatives, labor's representatives, women representatives, public figures, media persons, all comes under National Integration Council. This is purely for the welfare of the minority class. This was set up in 1986. Then National Development Council is there, set up in 1952. 1952 it is there. It is a highest decision making body for planning in India. National Development Council, most important. It is very, very important. It is extra constitutional body there. They prepare national plan there. They promote the coordination among the state and union territory there. They will make the different plans and programs for socio-economic development of the country there. Chairman always will be Prime Minister. Members means all the chief ministers, all the union territory administrators. Then Planning Commission members. Now there is no Planning Commission. Planning Commission was replaced by Niti Aayog. You might be known also there. National Institute for Transforming India now. So there is no Planning Commission now. In place of Planning Commission, we have Niti Aayog. So chief ministers, cabinet ministers, union territory administrators, Niti Aayog members, prime ministers, all comes under National Development Council. They will make the national, their plan. They are actually helping for making their annual plan. They helping for what is actually in olden days they used to help for the Planning Commission, but now there is no Planning Commission. In place of Planning Commissions, Niti Aayog has come there. Then Planning Commission already, I think you might be knowing also there, 1950 it was there. It was only advisory role there. Okay, Prime Minister was the chairman of the Planning Commission and vice chairman had a cabinet rank, but he was not a cabinet person. That you should understand always there. It is purely advisory body. I am talking about the Planning Commission there. Then Finance Commissions, it is a constitutional body. It's the most important body there, which comes under article number 280. Tenure of the Finance Commission for 5 years. This commission is appointed by presidents plus a commission plus 4 members. In that 4 members, 1 member is a High Court judge there, 1 person is an economist there, 1 person have a good knowledge about the finance and account of the central government there, another person have a good knowledge about finance and administrative matter of the central government. So there are 4 members plus 1 commissions comes under Finance Commissions. So Finance Commissions are appointed by President of India. Their tenure is there for 5 years. What is their main role there? To distribute financial resources between the state and the center. That is the main role of the Finance Commissions. But National Development Council is making the plan for the whole country. Okay, that is what actually National Development Council. But Finance Commissions, they make a plan how to distribute financial resources among the state and the central governments. The commissions are appointed by President of India. 5 years tenure is there. In addition to this Finance Commission, there are 4 more members are there. One example I want to tell you, grant in aid getting to all the states there. Finance Commission will make the decision for this ones. Okay, to state it. Then distribution of all the taxes between the state and the central governments. This all decided by Finance Commissions. It is very important. Okay, grant in aid. Each states are getting money from the central government. That is decided by the Finance Commissions. Okay, this all grant in aid comes from consolidate fund. So there are 3 types of fund is there. Consolidate fund is there, contingency fund is there, and public account is there. So there are 3 types of accounts are there. In that one, this grant in aid comes from the consolidate fund there, and Finance Commission will decide how much grant to be given to each state there, how much a tax to be distributed among the state government and the central governments, how the financial resource must be distributed among the state government and the central governments. These are all will be decided by the Finance Commission. Finance Commission is appointed by President of India for 5 years. Then zonal council is there. Zonal council. Now presently we have 6 councils are there. 6 council. It is set up in the 1956 there. North, South, East, West, Central and Northeast. Northeast 1971. Only that was set up there. Before that, only 5 zonal council were there. All the Home Ministry is the chairman, ex officio chairman of these councils are Home Minister of the Union Government. Then Chief Ministers, all Union Territory administrators, 2 ministers nominated by the governor. Okay, then planning commissions, advisors. Now presently we call it as a Nidhi Ayogs. Then chief secretaries, these are the members of zonal council. Then don't forget that ones. Any kind of the border issues between the state and the state, any kind of the linguistic issues, any kind of the transport issues between the state and state, or any kind of the implementation of the development project, the zonal council, they will discuss all these things. So chairman of zonal council always become Union Home Minister. Rajnath Singh is the ex officio chairman of the zonal council. Presently we have a very important point, 6 zonal council. Okay, north, south, east, west, central, northeast there. All the chief ministers, all the union territory lieutenant governors, all 2 ministers nominated by governor from the each state. Then planning commissions people. Now there is no planning commission, Nidhi Ayog only. So from the Nidhi Ayog, from some advisors, chief secretaries, these are the members. Any kind of the dispute between the state, for example, road transport, then water transport, or for sometimes water water issues, or for border issues, or any kind of the developmental issues, they can discuss in the zonal council. Okay, zonal council. So zonal council play for those kind of things there. In addition to this one, there is a interstate council, interstate councils. This also comes under constitutions, article number 263. No need to mention this and that. Ex officio chairman always prime minister, and 6 union ministers will be there. All chief ministers and all union territory administrators, what is there, will be the members of this ones. And 3 times will have the meeting in a year, and they are really a recommendatory body there. They are only giving recommendation to the what is their central government or the state governments there. Only they are also constitutional body there. But remember, prime minister. Only zonal council chairman only will become home minister. Otherwise, all this council, planning commissions or Nidhi Ayogs or inter state council or national development council, these are all chairman will become prime minister. That you don't forget. Then state election commission already I discussed with you, appointed by governor, but removed by President of India. It is quite difficult for removing the state election commission. That already I discussed with you. Gram Sabha already we discussed in previous class. I discussed also. It came into the force there 1992, 73 Amendment Act there. Okay, it is very important. Comes under 11th schedule there. Okay, 33% reservation is given for a demand for Gram Sabha. Okay, not for Legislative Assembly or not for Lok Sabha. Okay, that was pending. Though 33% reservation was approved by the Rajya Sabha, but it was not approved by Lok Sabha in 2008. Okay, it was pending issue. 33% reservation was not given for a demand in Parliament or not in any Legislative Assembly, but 33% reservation is given to Gram Sabha there. So first this one started, I told you, Gram Sabha system or Panchayat Raj system started in Rajasthan. 1957, I told you, Belvandarai committee, they had made a recommendation, 3-tier system, that is central government, state governments, and the local self-government 3-tier system. But in 1977, Ashok Mehta committee was there. They recommended 2-tier systems. But finally, Belvandarai committee was approved there, and the 3-tier system was introduced in our country. But remember, if the state does not have the more than 20 lakhs peoples, it is very important point that you should understand. The state does not have the more than 20 lakhs populations, not recorded the 3rd-tier systems. There is a provision also there. That means more than 20 lakhs population in a state only this 3-tier system is implemented. That is, if you look into the northeast state, we cannot see this three-tier system. Panchayat Raj system is not implemented in the northeast state there, because minimum 20 lakhs people must be there in a state, then only they can go for a three-tier system. Otherwise, not required for three-tier systems. The central government and the state governments enough for that. That is very important. So 73 Amendment Act in 1992, Panchayat Raj system came to India there. But remember, before that only 1957 only, this Panchayat Raj system introduced in Rajasthan. Then Panchayat Raj father is known as Balwant Rai Mehta. He only proposed that one three-tier system must be there. After one more committee was appointed, Ashok Mehta committee, but their proposal was there two-tier committee only there. That you should understand very clearly. Now 370 special what is there articles 370 special permission for Jammu Kashmir. Now there is no special permission for Jammu Kashmir. This was now suspended. But you should understand 370 means what? Special provision for Jammu Kashmir. That you should understand very clearly. It comes under article number 370. Jammu Kashmir special provision comes under 370 and comes under 21 parts of Indian constitutions. Okay, that the separate constitution for what is Jammu Kashmir, separate constitutions. So we already know the Indian constitution came into the force in 1950 January 26, but Jammu Kashmir has separate constitution that was adopted in 17 November 1956 and came in force there January 26, 1957. Okay, I'm not talking about the Indian constitutions. I'm talking about the constitution of Jammu Kashmir. Okay, they have separate constitutions that was framed and adopted in the year of 1956, November 17, but it came into the force in 26 January 1957. Don't forget. And cannot make any law in the state subject list by the parliament. Parliament cannot interfere any of this Jammu Kashmir issues. Dual citizens are being practiced. Dual citizenship is not there in our country, but Jammu Kashmir they practice dual citizenship. That means the person belongs to Jammu Kashmir only can contest in the election. He can only buy the land there. He can only sell the land there. No one can buy or settle in Jammu Kashmir. They cannot contest what is there any other persons other than Jammu Kashmir people. So dual citizenship is being practiced in Jammu Kashmir. It is very important. That is national emergency under armed rebellions. Okay, not extended to Jammu Kashmir. Armed rebellions. National emergency can be imposed to Jammu Kashmir, but national emergency under armed rebellions cannot extend to Jammu Kashmir. That is one of the provisions. Governor can extend the president rule for 6 months at a time. See, other state I told that once, president alone can expend. Any state doesn't have the sufficient majority to form the government. President will impose the rule to the state. But Jammu Kashmir issue, not only president, governor also can impose the rule there for 6 months. So that is the difference between Jammu Kashmir and another state that you should understand. Parliament cannot make any change of names, border, territories of Jammu Kashmir. I'm not talking about present. I'm talking about the 370 article. I'm telling. In case a question asked, because it is the latest issues, that sometimes question may come from article number 370. Okay, so without the permission, without the state concurrence, Parliament cannot change the name of the Kashmir. They cannot change the border. They cannot change the territory of Jammu Kashmir. So this all comes under what is Jammu Kashmir article number 370. That is very, very important. You might be knowing also Jawaharlal Nehru and Maharaja Harit Singh. They signed this agreement that once in 1947, October 26, November 47, Jawaharlal Nehru and Raja Hari Singh, the Raja of Jammu Kashmir, they signed based on that one only. These all provisions were made there. Central government shall consult the state government for appointment of governor also. That is another these things. So Jammu Kashmir has special provisions. We cannot impose a national emergency. We cannot appoint the governor without their permission. We cannot alter the border or territory. We cannot rename the place or any Jammu Kashmir. Dual citizenship is being practiced there. No one can buy land there. And the person who belongs to Jammu Kashmir only can contest in any election there. Okay, these are all comes under what is there 370 articles related to Jammu Kashmir. Now, high courts, if I tell about high courts, that you should understand presently we have 21 high courts are there. High courts can be state level or 3-4 state will have one high court also there. Sometimes we can see that only bench is there. High court is somewhere else, but the bench is working in somewhere else also. Like that possibility also there. So presently we have 21 high courts are there that you should understand clearly. Then chief justice and judges are appointed by president only there. That you have to understand very clearly. President should consult with the Chief Justice of India, Governor of the state, Chief Justice of High Courts to appoint what is their other judges appointments. To appoint any judges in the High Courts, to appoint any judges in High Courts, President must consult with the Chief Justice of Supreme Courts, Chief Justice of High Courts, and Governor of the state there. Okay, it is very important that Chief Justice I already discussed with you. What is appointed by what is Chief Justice of Supreme Court is must for the appointment of judge in High Courts. Without the consent of the Chief Justice of Supreme Court, no judge can be appointed in the High Court there. Then Chief Justice of High Courts with the prior consent of the President, what is there, and can request a retired judges to sit as a judge in the High Court also there. For example, they want to appoint a retired judge. It is also possible there to act as an acting judge there, but President and then the Chief Justice of High Court, they have to have the prior permissions. They should have there. So tenure of the High Court judges is 62 years. Removal, I already discussed with you. The recommendations of the parliaments by 2/3 majority. So removal of judge of Supreme Court or High Courts 2/3 majority by the both Sabha is required there. Otherwise, it is not possible. Okay, that is very important. Qualification to become the judge of High Courts, he must be the judicial officer at least 10 years, any lower courts, and or he must be the advocate of the High Courts at least 10 years. So advocate, he served as an advocate at least 10 years in the High Courts. Otherwise, he is a judge in any other lower court for 10 years. So 10 year, what is her experience must be there as a judge in the lower courts, or 10 years experience must be there as a judge in High Court advocate. So this is what I want to tell there also, that you should understand also. So what is the qualification to become the judge of High Courts? 10 years High Court advocate or 10 years lower court judge. So any one of the things must be there. It's not recorded, both is not recorded, any one of the things is recorded. Either 10 years advocate in the High Courts or 10 years lower court judge can be appointed as a High Court judge. But I told that once, Governor, Chief Justice of High Courts, Chief Justice of Supreme Courts, and President. These people involved for the appointment of High Court judge there. That is very important. After retirement, I told he can be pleaded only by Supreme Court or High Court whether he is not working. That means after retirement, no action can be initiated against any judge there. If any issues wanted to initiate against the retired judge, then only the High Court where he is not worked or by the Supreme Court only there. That you should understand also there. Okay. So conduct of judge of High Courts cannot be discussed in the parliaments other than removal also there. So okay, any judgment taken by the judge cannot be questioned, cannot be challenged, cannot be discussed in the parliaments. They can discuss only one thing: removal of High Court judge. That is only possible. Okay. Supreme Court. Now come back to Supreme Court there. Present Supreme Court Chief Justice, you know, sir, Aravind Bode only there. That you know very well. Number of the judges, first 1 plus 7, 1 Chief Justice and 7 first, then increase into 19 plus 1. Okay, 20 judges, then increase into 1 plus 25, 26. Presently, we have 1 plus 30, 31 judges of Supreme Court is there. Okay, over a period of the times, number of the judges have been increased also there. So, Chief Justice of India, appointed by President of India, tenure is there 65 years. But High Court judge is there 62 years. Supreme Court judges is there 65 years. That you should understand always. Okay, other judges also appointed by President of India in consultation with the Chief Justice of India. That is very important. Okay, he may consult with the other judges of High Court and Supreme Court also there. It is up to the President of India to have a consultation. But President of India appoint judges, okay, of Supreme Courts but in consultation with the Chief Justice of Supreme Courts. That's very important point that you should understand. Okay, my dears, madam has come there, so I will stop now. Okay, tell me when you can come there. Any other day? 1 minute. Okay. Hello.
Sir, tomorrow 3 to 5, sir.
See, I am also really not happy, my dear, by going like this. What to say, what to do, that is my questions. Because last year I never gone like this. This year, now time is your September 6th, your exam starting. I don't have class. If I want to find out the class, that also not possible. Last day before yesterday, I want to take 2 hours of class. Then it became working day. I thought it was a holiday. So going like this fast, even I don't like it. Because how many of you understands? Maybe 10 or 50% they may understand, other 50% they just simply listen and throw it. That's why I have noted down to speak to you all this concerned parliamentary proceeding and everything. If 2 hours get means I can finish. I need to go like this. I can recap again, and I want to make you understand. These are all asked questions in the UPSC. That's my worries. A few points I want to discuss: that majority, absolute majority, effective majority, simple majority. Then article number 32, which comes there, some writs coming there, that I want to discuss with you. Like selective points only, which is will ask 100% that will ask. But I want time. That's my worries, my dears. You please tell me. One of you call me and tell me, sir, this time we are free. But early morning, I don't know that 6 o'clock or I don't know how many
Sir,
boys will
tomorrow
join. That is
evening,
my
sir.
worry. Okay, tomorrow evening. Tell me timing. You tell me.
3 to 5, sir.
Okay, I am ready. I am ready. 3 to 5.
Okay, sir. We
But
also
you
will.
don't have any other class,
No, sir.
Okay, I will have the 3 to 5 tomorrow. Please inform your friends there, and I'll be coming. I'm not sending separate message for that ones because I don't know Angus are coming or not. I don't want to have a clash with Angur Pandesar class or something. I will be available here in the academic block 3 to 5, so that I can recap again what I discussed. Also, we can finish it off and we can go for a selected topic of history. So why without stopping civics, how I'll go for history? That also will not complete. This also will not complete. It I don't like this one. What to do? I'm really confused because I don't have period. I'm not getting time. I'm not getting classes. That's my worries. Because of that, I'm pressurized to complete. Otherwise, in the last year and all, I topic way I explained. Now I'm mixing up all these things. So what to do? I don't know, my dear. Please kindly call me and tell me. These all what we discuss is expected questions. So that's my worries. Please kindly inform me. Madam is waiting for outsides. If it is my last period, I would extend 7:30 or 8 o'clock. But now my next class they have to start. Anyway, wind you
Madam
can
has
go.
joined, sir. Madam has
Yeah,
joined.
madam already joined also. Madam already joined events. Okay, please wind and join to madam class, please. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
So you're all very busy, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.